No young person should feel this hopeless. No young person should feel this alone, and no young person should feel the weight of their state government being used to limit their happiness, to rob them of their authentic futures.
My name is Venton Jones, and I'm a member of the Texas House of Representatives representing House District 100 in Dallas, Texas. I grew up in House District 100. The house that I live in now is across the street from the house that I grew up in. Me being openly gay and HIV positive, I never would have thought I would have a chance to win something as ambitious as state representative. So to me, it was almost laughable that you would even ask me to run for this and be serious. It wasn't necessarily because I was HIV positive that I was running. I was running because in doing HIV work for the last 20 years, I've seen the impact of economic disparities, social justice, and equity.
I'm sorry, I'm on grandmother duty. I'm trying to get us. Oh, hi, Grandma. This is Dan.
Please give a thunderous round of applause to these leaders.
Thank you all for taking the time to come out to South Dallas Cultural Center. As we commemorate the emancipation of enslaved Africans, this mural stands as a powerful reminder of the resilience, strength, and triumph of a community that has endured unimaginable hardships.
When we talk about the HIV/AIDS epidemic, 40% of people living with HIV in Dallas are African American. That's trailed by the Latino community. So we see within these Black and brown communities the impact that HIV continues to have. This zip code that we are in right now are one of the 5 zip codes that have the highest rates of HIV in the city of Dallas. One of the things that I still love to this day about this seat is not necessarily just the work that we do in Austin, but knocking on doors and talking to people. Because one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I received from voters was, please don't just come out here to ask for my vote. Come and engage and continue to engage.
Representative Jones and I go way back. People that are HIV positive, people that are Black gay men, and just Black individuals in itself, to be able to, he's opening doors for people that may not even believe that these doors can be open for them.
How you doing?
I'm good, I can't complain.
And so we need people like him to be in those spaces and sit at the table, because that is going to help us with ending the HIV epidemic. It's going to help us to combat HIV within the Black community.
I think that sometimes in our community, just because we got gay marriage, just because we received, a couple of great wins, during the Obama administration, understanding that right after that, we had to go back to fighting again. And we have to be fighting right now in our state government right now to make sure that the bills that have passed, we challenge them in court, and then make sure that we prepare for the 89th legislative session where we know there are going to be additional attacks on LGBTQ people.
This is the reason why we need people like Venton Jones in Austin, in DC, and other places, right?
I want to talk about your public health bills.
I got 3 bills this legislative session that specifically focused on public health. 2 are related to HIV. They made it from the House floor, but there's still a lot of work to do because of some of the challenges that exist between relationships in the House and the Senate and the governor's office.
Well, getting it that far is an accomplishment, and we build on from there and keep going to the next,
Thank you, brother. Cheers.
Cheers. I've been a part of probably 50 local, state, and federal races in Texas and Oklahoma, so I'm a good source of good talent. And with his health background in particular, I knew that with Texas having the highest uninsured rates, with the expansion of Medicaid and Medicare, on the horizon, and needing someone to be a voice for public health, with that background, I knew that he was a great candidate to speak on those issues and speak truth to power on those issues.
So during the Democratic primary, I won by about 70%. And during the general election, I won by about 85%. Now, unfortunately, I had some opposition that tried to use my HIV status as a negative. And that was something that, the community doubled down to show their support that kind of hatred would not have a place, in this race. And I'm grateful, for that support. And it's not something that I take lightly.
We know that one of your opponents tried to use your HIV status as a weapon against you. I think we maneuvered very well dealing with the issue itself. Did your status ever come up during this legislative session from either colleagues trying to attack you or from outsiders trying to attack you?
Yeah.
How did you deal with that?
My HIV status actually didn't come up at all as far as me personally. It really came up through the legislation. I think what people got an opportunity to see was just me being open about my status. And I think that was the biggest surprise, that people saw the level of comfort I had talking about my HIV status. I think what I represent is what so many people living with HIV want, is just the ability to do what they do and to be treated just like anyone else, and not treated like a plague or a virus or like they did something wrong in life. Well, just in Texas alone, there were about over 140 anti-LGBTQ bills that were put forward in this 88th legislative session. I mean, there were so many different attacks, but what the commonality that revolved around, these really hateful attacks. And it was something that was a very red meat political issue for particularly Republicans, not only in the state of Texas, but we're seeing these attacks across the country.
Some women are being forced to play against biological men.
In Florida, girls are going to play girls sports and boys are going to play boys sports.
Protect people of faith and protect Americans who believe in the true meaning of marriage.
Leadership chose to spend so much time supporting these hateful bills, and unfortunately, some of these bills passed. Now, 140 did not get passed because you had entities like the LGBTQ caucus, like the Democratic House Caucus, and many other groups that were standing in firm opposition of this.
I'm standing today because this bill will harm people that had a childhood like me growing up, one that was spent desperately finding ways to learn about themselves and to learn about themselves as a young black man, a young gay man, and living in a state where it sometimes felt that people did not want them there at all because of factors that they had absolutely no control over.
We are everywhere! We are everywhere! We are everywhere!
I stand on the shoulder of people who were killed for living, their truth. Whether you talk about the black community and the civil rights era and the civil rights we still have to fight for. You talk about the LGBTQ community and the Stonewall movement. I stand on the shoulders of those people who fought for their lives and the lives of their community. And for that, I don't have the fear of losing my life for fighting for something that I'm passionate about, fighting for my people. To be honest, as a black gay man, I can walk out of my door and die in a number of ways. HIV is just one of them. And so I don't move in a space of fear. I'm just grateful for each and every day that I get. And I live at a pace that values each and every day of my life like it was my last.